So you ever wonder how some of the world's most successful companies just seem to stay on top? It's almost never about one single, massive breakthrough. Nope, it's usually about thousands of tiny little steps forward. Today, we're going to dive into the powerful philosophy behind this, Kaizen, the art of continuous improvement.
So what does Kaizen even mean? Well, it's a Japanese term, and if you break it down, it's actually beautiful in its simplicity. Kai means change, and Zen means good or better. So at its very heart, Kaizen just means good change. It's not about huge, disruptive overhauls. It's about making things a little bit better every single day. And that simple idea right there is the foundation for everything we're about to explore.
Now, the story behind Kaizen is just incredible, mostly because it was born from a moment of absolute crisis. It's a story of how a nation went from total devastation to becoming a global industrial powerhouse.
Okay, try to picture this. It's the late 1940s. Japan's economy is in tatters. Its entire industrial base has been, well, completely wiped out. The country was facing a challenge that seemed impossible, rebuilding everything from the ground up with next to no resources. This kind of environment just demanded a totally new way of thinking. And here's where the story takes a wild turn. You'd think this philosophy would be 100% Japanese, right? But the seeds were actually planted by Americans. That's right. Experts like W. Edwards Deming were brought over to help rebuild. He introduced these revolutionary ideas about quality control, and he just hammered home one crucial message. Improving quality isn't a one-and-done fix. It is a relentless, continuous process.
What's so cool about this timeline is you can literally watch the idea grow. You see the struggle to rebuild in the beginning, and then that critical injection of American ideas in the 50s. Then, the 60s and 70s happen. Toyota takes these concepts and just perfects them, creating the legendary Toyota production system. And by the 80s, well, the secret was out and Kaizen went completely global.
Okay, so we know where it came from, but how does Kaizen actually work, like day to day? Let's get into the nitty-gritty, the philosophy, and the process behind this powerful idea.
At its core, Kaizen really just rests on four simple but super powerful principles. First, this unshakable belief that tiny, daily improvements add up to massive results over time. Second, and this is absolutely crucial, everyone gets involved. This isn't some memo from the CEO. The best ideas come from the person actually doing the job. Third, an obsession with eliminating waste. I mean, any step, any motion, any material that doesn't add value, it's gone. And finally, standardization. Once you find a better way to do something, you make it the new standard, until, of course, you find an even better way.
And this is how they do it. It's a process called the Kaizen cycle, and it's basically a continuous loop. You spot an opportunity to improve something, you plan a small, easy-to-test change, then you just do it, you implement it, you measure the results, you look at the data to see if it actually worked. If it did, great, that's the new standard. And then what? You start the whole cycle all over again immediately. It never, ever stops.
And nobody put this theory into practice better than Toyota. They didn't just talk about it, they built entire systems around it. Just-in-time production, for example, meant they only made what was needed exactly when it was needed. That just slashed waste and costs. Then there's Jidoka. You can think of it as automation with a human touch. This empowered any worker to stop the entire production line if they saw a problem. Think about that. It builds quality right into the process. And by respecting their people, they unlock this incredible flood of ideas for improvement. But don't make the mistake of thinking this is just for building cars. The principles of Kaizen are so universal that they've been adapted in fields you probably wouldn't even expect, including some that are a big part of our daily lives. I mean, just think about it. Hospitals use Kaizen to streamline patient care and reduce errors. The entire agile methodology in the software world, that's basically Kaizen. It's all about small, iterative improvements. Banks, hotels, even schools, they're all applying these same principles to make customer service better, to refine how they teach, and just to run more smoothly. It really is everywhere once you start looking for it.
But here's maybe the most important part. Kaizen is way more than just a business strategy or a productivity hack. To really truly understand its power, we have to look at its deep cultural roots and its incredible legacy.
You know, it makes total sense that Kaizen came from Japan. It aligns so perfectly with core cultural values like group harmony and collective responsibility. It even ties into concepts like wabi-sabi, this idea of finding beauty in imperfection. This cultural mindset fosters the belief that perfection isn't some final goal you can achieve. It's a journey of constant, gradual refinement.
70+ years. Just let that sink in for a second. For over 70 years, this philosophy has been practiced, refined, and battle-tested in some of the most competitive industries on the planet. This isn't some passing fad. It's a proven approach to excellence. And its reach today? It is truly global. From its humble origins in a struggling post-war nation, this one simple idea has spread to organizations on every single continent, fundamentally changing how the entire world thinks about work and getting better.
And this symbol, well, it just says it all, doesn't it? This is the soul of Kaizen. The potential for improvement is infinite. There is no final destination. There's always a better way, always a small tweak, always a new idea. The journey truly never, ever ends.
So, all of this brings us to the real takeaway. Kaizen isn't just for giant corporations. It's a mindset that can apply to absolutely anything in your life. And it leaves us with a simple but pretty powerful challenge. What one small good change will you make today?